This is Will Bryant. Will Bryant, ever since I took over as sheriff, has done so many things within the community, from cooking at the senior center, helping with our football camp. We're having our 3rd annual football camp in June. And it's a constant, it's never, I don't know if I can make it, is when do you need me and what do you need me to do? Together, if you look at our slogan in the sheriff's office, everything we do and say is we, because we want to come together as a community to make our street and our lives better and safer. Well, Will Bryant and the community, and there'll be others getting awarded that as well through the night, but he had to leave, unfortunately. So we wanted y'all to share it with us, because this community would not be as good as it is without people like Will Bryant. So Will, thank you very much. Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you. Yes, sir, of course. We'll be getting busy soon.
We're going to go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome everybody to the 2023 award ceremony for the Sheriff's Office. It's been a long time coming. I know there's been a lot that our deputies in office has been through in 2022, as well as our friends and neighbors in our community. So this is a celebration of our achievements, and many of our achievements are your achievements. There's a lot of things our office could not accomplish without our Board of Supervisors support, without our community support, and more importantly, without the support of our families and friends that we have here in the audience for our deputies. So I would like to particularly thank all the young people we have here for supporting your moms and dads, and also the husbands, wives, and extended family that's here. Because this is, after all, it's one big family. This is the Sheriff's Department family, so welcome. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to go through a few minutes of formalities, and then we're going to go to the food, because I'm sure some of you are hungry. We'll take a brief break so you can get something to eat, and then we'll start the award ceremony itself. Does that sound okay to everybody? Everybody awake? Okay. Okay, if you can see the itinerary up here, we're going to go through a brief presentation of the colors, so I'd ask everybody to please stand.
Present arms. Order arms. Colors. Ready? Face. Ready? Step.
Thank you. May all be seated. I'm now going to turn the podium over to our chaplain, our office chaplain, Sergeant Roger Morris. He's going to bless us with the invocation and some words from Scripture.
First, before I get started, let's have a moment of silence for our fallen officers. I must remember retired Chief Richard Furr and also Jesse Dove. Thank you. This evening I'm reading from Isaiah, in Isaiah 41:10. It says, "Fear not, for I'm with you. Be not discouraged, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you, and I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Let us pray. Father God, I thank you for this day and for watching over us through the day and for being with our families. Father, I thank you for giving us this day so that we can come together to recognize and honor those that have gone before. Also for recognizing the ones that have gone over and beyond the service called to them, Lord. Father God, I ask you to be with the ones that gathered here tonight. I ask for your blessings over this event. Give us your protection through the night. Father, I ask to continue to be with this community and our country and be with our leaders, Father God. Father, I ask a special blessing over the brave men and women who stand over, watch in this community, over our state, and over our country. Father, I ask you to build a hedge of protection around each one. Be with their families while they're away. Father God, I ask for strength to help us through each day. Give you praise and honor and glory for all. In Jesus' name. Now, Father, I ask you the blessing over the meal. I ask that you bless the hands that prepare the meal. I ask you to sanctify it in the nourishment of our bodies. And to give you blessings in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
I'm going to leave this slide up while you serve yourselves. So we're going to take about 15 minutes or less, depending on how many folks it takes to get their dinner. What I like to do is invite you to get your dinner, get your drinks, have a seat, and we'll go ahead and begin with the award ceremony. The objective is stated up here is pretty simple. This ceremony is an opportunity to recognize and reflect upon the men and women and our community partners that have honorably served or sacrificed above and beyond the call of duty for the service of law enforcement. The Warren County Sheriff's Office would like to thank our following sponsors for without this, we could not put this together. Front Rural Moose Lodge, number 829. Front Rural Warren County Fraternal Order of Police Lodge, 33. Blue Ridge Technical Center. Delightful Foods Catering, Ms. Devin Smith. And photos by Dwayne Henderson, or Doc. I also like to thank the Rural Examiner for coming as well. We appreciate that. So if you would please go ahead, serve yourselves, and we'll go ahead and get things started here in just a moment. All right, folks, I hope everybody had a chance to get themselves something to eat and a refreshment. You can always get up during the evening and go over and get you some more. We're going to go ahead and get started here so that you can get home this evening. I'm going to turn the podium over to Sheriff Mark Butler for some opening comments.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I actually wrote something down this time so I don't ramble. I'm sure y'all want to get home. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for coming. When we have events like this, I know most in law enforcement don't like showing up to these things or don't like taking part in them because we don't want to stand up and get an award for something we did. Because there's something about honor. And I'm going to read a quote. No person was ever honored for what he or she received. Honor is the reward for what they gave. Calvin Coolidge. And I think if you look at most officers across the country, across the world, we didn't take this job to get rich. We took this job because we want to make a difference in life. So I'm going to read another quote because I'm surely not smart enough to write these. The ultimate measure of someone is not where they stand in times of comfort, but where they stand in times of challenge and controversy. That could not be said any better, and it's by Martin Luther King. Two very strong leaders to very strong people in this world in our history. When we give awards, it's kind of our history, right? You may not think of it now as you get this award, but when you get my age, some of y'all, you'll look back and say, wow, I actually did accomplish something. And you'll be proud of it, and your grandchildren will be proud of it, and your children thereon. Tonight is a great night. It's a night to recognize all. And when I say all, I don't mean just the men and women of the Warren County Sheriff's Office. I mean the community as well. 3.5 years ago, when I ran for sheriff, we came up with this logo, we. Because we actually means something. It's not us doing this. It's we. It's the county administrator, the board of supervisors, the men and women in the community that work so hard to support what we do and help us out. It's the men and women of the Warren County Sheriff's Office who come in every single day, rain or shine, miss time with their family and their children, and still put the next foot forward to do what's right to make our community better. I could sit up here and tell you stats that would make your head spin. But the last 3.5 years, we've actually done what we said we would do as a family, as a sheriff's office, and as a community. And I'm very proud and very lucky and blessed to be the Warren County Sheriff. We have accomplished a great amount of goals. Tonight is a way to let everyone know how thankful, honored, and proud we are for the work and selflessness from so many, not just our agency, but the entire community who supports us. When I ran, it's not I running for sheriff. I don't care who runs for sheriff or sits in that seat. It's we. It's not me, it's we. And I can't thank enough people within that agency because it's probably the best agency I've ever worked for in my entire career. And I just want to thank each and every one of you. So as we move forward, I want to again thank everyone for coming. There's a special award that I'm going to hand out, and we're starting to hand out, and it's a 20-year award, and it's a lifetime award. Someone, you get a lot of comments on social media if you're the sheriff, right? So you got to let them roll off your back. Someone told me I was a cowboy, and it really irked me. And someone came to me and they said, well, hold on, a cowboy, someone who works, gets up at the break of day, works until dusk or past dusk, protecting the herd, and lives by an oath and a common goal. I think I'll take that. That was a bright man. He's a lot brighter than I am, and he's standing behind me. So I went to Texas. My wife likes Texas. And you see all these big belt buckles. And she goes, hey, you need to get a belt buckle. And I was like, can't do that. You got to earn a belt buckle. So this guy goes, well, what do you do for a living? I said, well, I've been in law enforcement and the military for many years. He goes, yeah, nobody earned it more than you all. So I thought about that, and we decided to give these awards as a belt buckle. Because, you know, you see all those people in rodeos and stuff, and they win belt buckles, and they put it up on the wall, their trophies. That's kind of what I thought of, and it's something you'll be able to keep for the rest of your life. And you'll have a story with it, because you earned it. If you've done 20 years in law enforcement, you've earned it. The first person that's going to get this award is a lifetime award. Because think about it, if you've done 20 years in law enforcement and I'm going to give you a buckle, what about if you've done 45 years? That's a lifetime. That's like 5 people's lifetime. Isn't that right, Robbie? So that's the story behind the buckles, and that's why I wanted to tell you about it, because it is a lifetime and they have earned it. and anyone who wears a buckle should earn it. So we'll get started from there. Thank y'all for coming.
Well, thank you, Sheriff. And these buckles, by the way, you got to see them. They came out very, very nice. I thought it was a wonderful idea. So I guess this is the inaugural class that gets belt buckles.
Yes.
And it's nothing to be taken light of. I mean, I look at these belt buckles, and the first award, when I put the slide up, you'll see the names, is the first one's up. We have 2 recipients. One may not be with us tonight. The other one is here. But 20 years, think about that, 20 years. What stories and sacrifice and commitment to our community, not just our profession. I just think of all the things that took place in 2 decades in being in law enforcement, having spent a couple of decades myself. So well-deserved, well-earned, and it was with great honor I go ahead and introduce your honorees. 2 recipients tonight, Captain Charles Brogan, affectionately called Chucky. Is Chucky here? I did not see him earlier.
He's not.
Okay, Chucky has some personal matter he had to take care of, so our prayers go out to him and his family. So the sheriff will be presenting that to Captain Brogan when he sees him next. On a personal note and professional note, I can tell you about Chucky. Not only he's survived a career in 20 years, which is an accomplishment by itself, but he has done so much to advance our community and our agency. Since 2020, we've faced challenges that law enforcement and our community, we didn't expect. Nobody expected COVID. Nobody expected all the IT challenges that we've had, from invasions, from intrusions from overseas, and having to redo a massive IT project through the county. So thank you, Dr. Daly, for leading that. But Chucky Brogan was instrumental in not only forging the way and guiding us, but putting all that infrastructure together was just as a massive undertaking all by itself. So he's done more probably in 3 years than some people have done in a career. So I'm very proud of Chucky. We'll be very happy to award that. And our first awardee is here. So no good deed goes unpunished. So we'd like to ask Gary Phillips, our first sergeant, to step forward, please. Now, we're not going to ask Gary to speak. We probably could, but we can just tell you, in 20 years, he's done a lot. He's been in patrol, he's managed FTO and been an FTO, and as our first sergeant, to put that in perspective, he's the person that when our patrol lieutenant's not around, has to oversee all our patrol functions and the office, in the absence of any other staff. So Gary does a tremendous amount of work, both administrative and operationally. So Gary, congratulations, sir. Enjoy your belt buckle. It's well deserved. Okay, the next award is what the sheriff alluded to. It's the Lifetime Service Award. And it truly is, I think that speaks for itself, a lifetime, because the first 2 individuals receiving this have longevity. They have more than 20 plus years. And you'll recognize these names. They're fixtures in our community. And I can't tell you the amount of work I have personally watched them do. It is not easy, and it's been a tremendous day-to-day struggle to stay ahead with their workload, as well as produce, not just do the job, but do it exceptionally well. So I am very, very proud to announce your Lifetime Service Award recipients. Miss Diana Ori is one of our first recipients. Is Diana here? Okay. Well, on behalf of Diana, we have to have the sheriff introduce that award to. Diana is our records manager. One of her primary functions is she manages the FOIA process. And if anybody's been involved in that, it is not fun and it's a lot of work. She does a magnificent job of keeping up with the code and keeping up the requests that come in 3, 4, 5, 6 a day. So that alone keeps her busy on top of all her other functions. She's tireless, she's dedicated, and I don't know what I would do without having Diana in the office. So Diana, really appreciate it, well deserved. A second awardee is here. So Lieutenant Robbie Seal, if you would please step forward and be recognized. Now, I'll just kind of give you the short version of Robbie, because if I ask him to come up here and speak, we'll be a little bit longer.
Don't even start.
He's had a very long and distinguished career. He's worked over in Front Royal and done a magnificent job there. Sheriff's Office is blessed in getting Robbie to come aboard, where he is the supervisor and lieutenant of our community policing unit. He is the liaison and most times the face of our office. The amount of work that he does in generating goodwill and establishing partnerships in our community, not just fundraising, I'm talking meaningful, lasting relationships. Robbie, thank you. Because our community policing program could not be what it is and what it will be without you. So well deserved. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, this next series of awards, and I would remind everybody, in front of you, you should have a little pamphlet that's free to take home. You can feel free to take others if you'd like. I'm not going to bore you by reading what each and every individual award is. They're all named in there. What I will tell you is as the recipients are coming up, they're going to receive a certificate. The certificate outlines their individual achievements, so they're not boilerplated. They're not all the same. It identifies what they did as an individual. There's also a ribbon inside, which you'll notice in there corresponds to their award. It's modeled after the military model. It's prestigious. It's something that they wear proudly on the uniforms. You'll see a lot of that on the uniforms today. We use Captain Moomaw as our model and the sheriff. Again, this is the second year we've done this, and it is an absolute privilege for me to announce the names and the awardees as we go through the rest of the evening. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and introduce the Citizen of the Year nominees. So our nominees are William Bryan, who had mentioned earlier, Francisco Frank Amari. Is Frank here? Okay. I asked if I call you name, if you'd just please stand up. Warren Memorial Hospital, the emergency room staff. Do we have anybody from Warren Memorial with us tonight? Okay. Northwestern Community Services. This is all explanatory because you wonder where are they at. They're probably doing the magnificent work they do day to day. These folks are very busy. So it's with great pleasure that we awarded William Bryan the Citizen of the Year. Williams was the gentleman you met a little bit earlier and received his award. So we'll go ahead and move forward. But we congratulate all the nominees. But I'd like to say we show the nominees because they're all winners. Every one of these awards are all equals. The thing that separates them is very slim. It really is, because they're all exceptionally quality people.
There is someone here from the emergency room, but I'm not going to call her up because her entire team's not here. But when our staff gets hurt, TDOs or ECOs, and we have to pretty much live in that emergency room, I have never seen such a more professional staff than was at Warren Memorial. And we as a community are very honored and blessed to have them. So you can take it with you when you leave. All right, thank you. She was hiding. So we want to thank Mandy and everybody from the staff. Thank you very much, dear. I appreciate it.
Okay, up next is going to be our Administrator of the Year nominees. In our office, we have sworn personnel and we have civilian non-sworn personnel. So, for example, non-sworn personnel, our communications officers are not sworn. Some agencies they are, and ours they are not. But we have civilian employees, both part-time and full-time, that do a workload that I cannot express my appreciation for because of what they do. I see it every day, and it's phenomenal. So it is with great honor that our honorees are going to be Keaton Leach. Keaton, if you'd please stand up. I call your name, just stay standing for just a moment. Diana, who we announced, Diana's not with us. Jacob with us tonight? Okay, so Jacob Whitson's not with us. Shelby, are you with us tonight? Okay, so the ones that are not with us, to give you an idea, we already mentioned that Diana's our records manager. Jacob is a phenomenal individual. I don't even know how to describe Jacob. He can do so many things. He's kind of like a Swiss Army knife. But he does so many wonderful things administratively. Shelby is our crime analyst that works in our office in CID. She does another fantastic job. So again, different skill sets, tough decision, but when they were nominated, she might as well step forward. Keaton, congratulations. And while Keaton's receiving her award, I'll tell you a little bit about what she does. She's a full-time student at Christian College. So she has a student load that she does at school. She takes care of her siblings and her family. She comes to work and does not only what she's asked to do, she comes up with ideas for improvement. she not only gets things done on time, usually in advance of that. And Keaton, I can't thank you enough for what you do. And by the way, she and Captain Mumal were instrumental in putting this together along with others. So thank you for doing that as well. That was, I applaud you for it. Thank you. Okay, this one's always a tough one because Supervisor of the Year is it's a very tough thing. If you talk about these individuals and what they do, although they have different jobs, I'd ask the ones when I call your names to please stand up. Sergeant Beatty, Sergeant Robinson, Mike still with us? Okay, there we go. Sergeant Fritz, he's in the back of the room back there. Sergeant Gregory, Lieutenant Lang, Lieutenant Mike Lavis. Mike's here somewhere.
Mike's in the back talking.
Okay,
He's standing up though.
there he is. I see you, Mike. Okay, and Sergeant Negron. Karen, if you'd please stand, be recognized. All of you, although you have different operational responsibilities in office, in my heart, in my mind, you're all winners to this. And like I said, you were all nominated by your peers and by us. I applaud each and every one of you. I thank you for what you do. I can tell you on the court service side, if you've been to our courts, it's not an easy job. Stand on your feet and deal with people that have probably, most of the ones that are coming in there for going into our courts don't want to be there. Some are very unpleasant to deal with, and they provide security for both defendants, the people that are plaintiffs, and people that are visiting our courtrooms doing other civil things, as well as the employees. So I'd like to really say particularly thank you to Lieutenant Lang and Sergeant Beatty, Karen, Sergeant Negron, and others that are here with our court services. So thank you. You can have a seat, please. We'll give them all a round of applause. Okay, since he's already standing, he's already busy talking, we can interrupt him. We have to ask Lieutenant Mike Lavis to step forward, please. Hey, Daddy. And besides being a proud father, I've had the privilege of working with Mike day to day. Mike is our supervisor or lieutenant over charge of our criminal investigative division. He's a very bright man. He's insightful. He comes up with wonderful solutions. And having been challenged with taking that position just a mere couple of years ago, he's not only exceeded, he's excelled. And I would pit our investigators that are in this room under Mike's leadership against anybody. They're truly exceptional in their diligence and everything that they do. So Mike, thank you. Well deserved, sir. Okay, this is also, I don't think we have any easy jobs. I can sit here and tell you how hard each and every one of these jobs are, and they are difficult in their own right. So, Communication Officer of the Year. These are our communications officers that when they come to work, they work 12-hour shifts for 4 days, and they're sequestered. Imagine going to work in a dark room that you can't leave. That's what they do. And then for added fun, you get to answer 911 calls and administrative calls that come through there. But most of the people are in crisis or unhappy with them and need of services. And they stay calm, they stay professional. What they know about our culture, about our geography, about the services they need to provide, they get help there, they get it there fast, and they get the right help. So I really thank Ashley Woodall's with us. I know that Captain Brogan, Patty Baggerly is now in charge of administration for the communications officers, but I'd like to thank each and every one of them. So our nominees this year for Officer of the Year, Sean Dean. Sean with us? I know some of them are working. We're having the difficulty of trying to spell people sometimes too, so some are actually working. Maddie Riggs? There's Maddie. Hi, Maddie. And Dominic Gazar. Is Dominic with us? Okay. Because I know, like I said, it's very difficult to get them out because they do work. So go ahead and have a seat. Thank you, Maddie. Thanks for coming. Thanks for representing everybody else. With that, I'd like to go ahead and announce our Communication Officer of the Year is Sean Dean. And while Sean's coming up to receive his award, I'll tell you a little bit about Sean. Sean is one of the brightest people in our communications center. When we've had crises, we've had technological challenges that, to be honest with you, I've never seen. And I've seen a lot. We've had things that are happening, and there is nobody I would like better than having Sean working when some of those things have happened. He's come up with solutions quickly. And again, there's a reason why he was nominated and chosen to be the Communication Officer of the Year. So Sean, I would like to thank you for the hard work that you do. I thank you for your leadership. Sean also does training in our Communication Center. So with that, thank you very much. Court services, we talked a little bit about them earlier, and like I said, it's a tough job. It's also a job that's very endear to Sheriff Butler. If you haven't worked in the courts and you haven't worked in the jails, you know what it is. I think you appreciate it, but you don't have a true appreciation for it. And having seen what they do there, and having gone through accreditation and watched the heavy lift to get us to the point where we're now, have gone through that process and what they've done, not just operationally, but what they've taken ownership of that old building, and they've cleaned it and painted it themselves. They've literally taken ownership of that building and done an absolutely wonderful job. Two of our court service deputies have been nominated. Donald Lawson, is Don here with us tonight? Okay. And Paul Brenner. Paul, where you at?
They both had events they couldn't get out.
Okay. All right. So neither are with us tonight. What I can tell you is both of these gentlemen are outstanding and deserving this nomination, this award. The award would be presented to Paul Brennan. Paul currently does our one of our civil process services.
We got Lieutenant Lane going to.
You're going to receive for him? Yes, sir. I appreciate that, Jeremiah. Paul, when you go out there and do civil service, I don't have the numbers at my fingertips, but it is amazing the number of documents that get served every day and all year. I mean, it's incredible. It's one of the most stressful, and it's also one of the most high liability jobs that our office has. They do it seamlessly, without interruption to service, without issue. They make us proud. So again, I would ask Lieutenant Lane to please thank Paul for the hard work that he does each and every day. Another hard job. Like I said, we don't have easy jobs. That's what we always tell people when we do interviews. If you don't want to work or you're afraid of work, you're interviewing in the wrong place. And be considered right now at this moment, because everybody we have here works very hard. School resource officers, again, I really can't say enough about them. It is an interesting job, a fun job, but it's challenging. So we have 3 nominees this year. And I know that they're with us. Christopher Wigington. Wiggy, where you at? You can stand up. Wiggy says, okay, I ate a lot. I want to sit here and digest for a minute. And so while we're having people stand up, Omar, if you would please. Omar Fuentes is another one of our stellar SROs. Sammy Keller. Sammy with us tonight? Okay. We have 10 schools that we provide services for SROs. I can tell you right now, having personally worked with the nominees that we have and been to their schools, it doesn't end at the end of the day. It's the job that they show up at 7:30 in the morning, school's lets out, they're going home at 3:30. I can tell you right now, both of those gentlemen dedicate their own time to coach, to mentor, to share with our youth, our teachers, and our community. So gentlemen, before we announce, thank you very much for what you do. It's greatly appreciated. And with that, I ask that Omar Fuentes please step forward and be recognized as our School Resource Officer of the Year. I'll tell you a little bit about Omar. Not only is he a great SRO and a great deputy, he's a great person. He's a great human being, as all our SROs and all our deputies are. He also coaches and mentors youth sports at the school. I've had the privilege of actually, working out with Omar. He's dedicated. He's a great mentor and coach to our children. So for what you do for our kids and our youth, because sports is very important. It keeps, at least the children are interested in athletic activities involved. And put it this way, it keeps them inspired. Omar inspires our youth. So it'll be a privilege in the years to come to see what your legacy is, sir, and those kids that come out of school. Bigger, stronger, smarter, and better people. So thank you, Omar. Now, I talked about tough jobs and how hard these jobs are. This is probably, if you had to make a decision, probably one of the toughest decisions to make. Like I said, I'm very proud of our criminal investigative division and all our investigators. Having seen the cases, their caseload and the breadth of the cases and involvement in some of these cases, they're very complicated. Attention to detail is critical. Their communication skills, the documentations, the relationship with outside agencies from forensic laboratories to our Commonwealth Attorney's Office to many more. So our nominees this year are Clark McDaniel. I don't know if Clark is with us. Okay, I believe he's in school?
Yeah, he's in school.
Okay, Clark's in school. Christopher Powell, I know Chris is with us. Chris is in the back of the room over here, so if you just remain standing for just a moment. Kristen Hayduke, I believe, is in school, so she's not with us this evening. She's out getting educated. Jason Lombard, I'm not sure if Jason's with us.
He's busy.
Okay. Again, like I said, about being afraid to work, Jason is part of a division that works a lot. So I'd like to compliment his supervisor, who is in the back of the room, Mike Henry. They do a tremendous amount of work just through their division. And Mr. Joel Thompson. Joel was here. Where you at, Joel? He's over here in the back. So I'd like to thank each and every one of you, and the ones that aren't with us this evening. Like I said, being an investigator, other than that job description I just gave you, they're intangibles. They have the innate ability to find the truth, and the truth that's being spoken, and the truth that's not being spoken. And I could not be more proud of these two gentlemen that are with us tonight, as well as the ones that are not. So I would like to tell the county, you're in good hands with these investigators. With that, I would like to go ahead and announce your Investigator of the Year. If Chris Powell, please step up, please. Now, while Chris is taking that long walk, I'll tell you a little bit about Joel Thompson back there. There's Joel a little bit. Joel does our background investigations, and he works part-time. His experience and past experience is, we're blessed to have him. Our success for agency starts with Joel. It starts with that screening process of getting good candidates. So Joel, thank you.
Great job.
Going over to Christopher. Again, no good here goes unpunished. I can tell you some of the cases that he's taken on have been very complex. We've had complex cases in our regional jail, which you know is in the county. So we have a duty to investigate. They've also taken on a whole host of other very complicated, protracted cases. Some of these cases go on for weeks, months, and sometimes even years. And I can tell you right now, Chris Powell, there's no better. So Chris, I thank you for everything you did, and a job well done. Okay, this next award is really fun, actually. The sheriff has an award, the WE Award. He talked a little bit earlier about what WE stands for. It's not a mantra, and it's not a way of life, and it's not a philosophy. It's literally a culture that we have, because it defines what we do as a community. So this particular award is for those persons named that really make a difference. So the nominees are Lieutenant Robbie Seal. Yes, Robbie, you can stand up again.
He's got that bad knee.
Robbie's got new knees. He needs to work them out a little bit. Sergeant Terry Fritz, who's standing next to him over there, and Sergeant Cindy Burt. I know Cindy's here. There's Cindy. Now, tell you a little bit about him. Cindy is our sergeant in charge of our school resource officers, and she is their team mom, and there is no better. So your schools are in really good shape. And I can tell you, when Sergeant Burke's on the job, she doesn't miss anything. And she doesn't take anything off anybody. She will get down to the truth and resolve things pretty quick. So I really, really am proud and happy to have her, as well as the other gentlemen. So with that, I would like to go ahead and announce your award winner. The Sheriff's WE Award for making a difference goes to Lieutenant Robbie Seal.
Since it's going to take him a while to come up here, One of the things that I ran on was community service. Since Robbie Seal has been in the sheriff's office, our community service has probably multiplied almost 500–600%. And that's just what we know. He reaches out to the entire community, and he does a fantastic job, and we could not do it without him. Thank you very much, Robbie. I appreciate it.
Go ahead, Robert. Everybody here knows I don't lack for words, but as long as I've been doing this, and at my age, I always reflect now how long I've been doing this, which I tell you is pushing 40 years, 38 right now. Don't know how much longer I'm going to do it.
Another
But
2 terms.
when these things come around, like the sheriff says, we never ask. Most of us that wear this uniform never, ever want per se the recognition, you know, in a sense of receiving these. When I receive something like this, it doesn't just have my name on it. It has everybody I work with. It has all of you. You inspire me to do a job out here to the best of my ability. So this award, in my mind, in my eyes, in my heart, has all your names on it. And I appreciate what you do. Thank you.
Okay, our next award is the Deputy Phillips Wayne Underwood Award of Excellence. So your nominees this year are Trey Cornwell and Chad Ruckman. Is Trey with us? Okay, I know Chad was here. Chad? So your awardee is Trey Cornwell. Trey's not with us. So on his behalf, the sheriff will receive it and present it to Lieutenant Glavis. Next award is the Deputy of the Year. So your nominees are Brandon Doffenmeyer. Brandon was here. There he is. One of our bright young people, always eating. We got some great young deputies, by the way. When I say young, everybody's young to me. I've been around, so you're all like my kids and grandkids or something. But I can tell you, it's a true privilege working with Brandon. He's just a wonderful young man to work with. A person of integrity and a hard worker. He's one of our FTOs. Christopher Pontius. I can tell you, you're talking about defining hard work, Deputy Pontius redefines it. Because what he does when he goes out, I'll put it this way, if you're a bad guy in Warren County, that man, you do not want to be on his radar because he will catch you. He is very diligent in doing what he does. He watches our businesses after hours. Just a phenomenal, hard-working deputy. Chris, I thank you for everything you do. Trey Cornwell, we already mentioned. Trey's not with us right now. And Greg Long. Greg was here. There he is. Greg's one of our animal control officers, and I can tell you he's an exceptional human being. He knows his job well and has a true passion and compassion for both animals and people. So I thank you for what you do each and every day. With that, we'll go ahead and announce the Deputy of the Year. I'd like to congratulate Brandon Doffenmeyer. Now, you already heard me talk about Brandon. He's just a wonderful young man. He's got a great work ethic. And that same smile you see right now getting that award, I see it every day. It's not just today. So I thank you. Congratulations, Brandon, on your award. Okay. Be patient. Well, we're going to get into the final leg of the awards. Some of these awards will be calling multiple people up at a time. So when I announce your name and the slide comes up, I'd ask you if you're present, please step forward. The first award is going to be Outstanding Support Award. And I would like, if there's a representative here, please step forward. If not, then we'll make sure we get the awards to you. I'd like to honor Northwestern Community Services, Warren Memorial Hospital. We already mentioned their emergency room staff, so if somebody wanted to come forward, that would be appreciated. GMC Buick, who's a great community partner. Jane Meadows here from the county. I don't know if Jane blessed us tonight. I'm not sure she's able to come. Bruce Townsend. Bruce was one of the original members of our Community Advisory Council. He's a very active member in our community, as is the next honoree, Gene Pickle. Is Gene here with us? Gene Stanley? Okay. A.D. Carter, I think A.D. was here. Was A.D. here earlier? There he is. Mr. Carter's one of our favorite people, and he's definitely beloved by the sheriff. Like I said, these honorees for this Outstanding Support Award, they contribute to our community and to our office in their own unique, special ways, and they're immeasurable in what they contribute. Sometimes it's their presence, sometimes it's what they do with our community, or it's something they provide to the office, but truly exceptional. Bill Grandy is, where's Bill? Hi, Bill. Come on up, Bill. Talk about favorite people. Bill is one of those people that if you go to a function like this and you look at him, the first thing you're going to say, Bill, you look good tonight. Bill looks good. Bill looks like this every day. He is actually the epitome of professionalism. Bill is one of our volunteers. He comes in tirelessly, and I mean tirelessly on time, does his work, always with a smile. So Bill, thank you for everything you do. That's a well-deserved award. Misty Alger with Warren County Senior Center. A little bit about the Senior Center. We do a lot of interaction with them, and what they do for our seniors and the activities they have over there are just incredible. If you hadn't had the opportunity to go by the Senior Center and experience it yourself, I'd ask you to do that. It's just truly just a wonderful center. Misty does a great job. Krista Shiflett from the Warren Coalition. Mr. Krista or somebody else here? And Michelle Shank. Is Michelle with us? There you go. There's the
Now I'm going to speak on this one real quick. I had an individual come in my office the other day. Come on up, Michelle. And he was an older gentleman that I've known since my wife and I moved to Warren County many, many years ago. This gentleman had worked for an establishment for 50 years, 56 years. And he was scammed out of money. He said, hey, I went in, the reason why I'm coming here is because the bank person, Michelle Shank, I believe her name was, caught it. Now, a lot of people don't need to go and do that, and they don't do that extra step. Michelle actually found it, and we were able, with her help, and now we have a case we're trying to get his money back through a scam. Is that going to happen? We'll see, because the scams are so prevalent all over the country. But Michelle, without people like you, people get robbed. So thank you very much.
Okay, our next group of awards are Outstanding Service Awards. As I call your name, I'd ask you please step forward. Ashley Woodall. Ashley is our Communications Center Director. Chris Pontius. So Deputy Pontius. Mickey Licklider. I don't know if Mickey's with us tonight. Mickey,
Downstairs.
Is he downstairs? Okay. Mickey is one of our absolutely stellar court service deputies. Jessica Atkinson. I just can't get used to that last name. We have to make sure we get the right name on there. I used to call her T. That's okay. She's still our Jess. John Gregory.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Deputy Sergeant John Gregory. While John's walking up, is Sergeant Calvin Clatterbuck with us tonight? No? Okay. Sergeant Burke, would you like to receive the award for Calvin? So on behalf of Sergeant Clatterbuck, his mother will receive the award for him. I'm sure she's very proud of him. Deputy Tyler Poe. Deputy Deborah Church, if Deborah please step forward. Deborah's another one of our hardworking court service deputies. Adrian Farrell. Okay, he's not here. Clark McDaniel's not here. Omar Fuentes.
Come on, Omar.
Well, we're waiting on Omar. We know that Shelby Surseth is not with us. She's our crime analyst. Aaron Dawson. Is Aaron here tonight? Deputy Aaron Dawson? Okay. Patty Baggerly.
Yeah.
Her name's there. Patty's our administrative services manager. Ben Joseph. Where's Big Benny?
Come on, big man.
Benny's one of my favorite people. True pleasure to work with. Benny actually took on, he actually volunteered for this, believe it or not. Benny actually volunteered to be the accreditation manager. And he volunteered not only to do that with that job, but to do that job meeting my expectations. So I can tell you right now, Ben did a wonderful job. So I'd like to thank him just for that. Sean Gagliardo, is Gags here?
No, sir.
Okay, so he's not with us. Donald Lawson, we already announced. I don't think he was with us. And Brian Foley, is Brian with us tonight? From the fire services? Okay. All right, well, on behalf of Brian, Brian is one of our deputy emergency managers with Warren County Fire and Rescue. I would like to personally thank him for all the work he does. He's done a lot of work, not only in the emergency management side, but also in supporting his fire chief and supporting our agency. So, to our Outstanding Service Award winners, just one last round of applause, please. That's well deserved. So this is the fun part. When you have awardees get multiple awards, I like to let them walk all the way back to the chair before I call them back up. It's part of our new wellness plan. It's we give them a little exercise, get their steps in. Okay, the next award is going to be the Sheriff's Citation for Exemplary Performance. So these names probably look familiar, and if you look at the criteria that's listed in your brochure, it'll tell you more about it. But again, exemplary performances throughout the year that they were acknowledged. Jason Lombard is not with us. He's one of our investigators. Tyler Poe, yes sir, you have to take that long walk again. Matthew Griffith, I know Griff was with us earlier. There he is. Matt's one of our K-9 deputies, and I can tell you, talking about a hard-working individual when it comes to training and care for his animal and care about his profession. There's a lot of things we could not do without these dogs and without the dog handlers. So, Matt, I appreciate all the hard work you do and support not only patrol but investigations and other agencies. So, Sean, I know, is not with us. Sean Gagliardo is another recipient. Chris Anderson, is Chris with us? He's another one of our K-9 deputies. Okay. Again, Chris is another hard-working individual. And investigator Chris Powell.
He is getting it.
So as Chris receives the award, can everybody just give him a round of applause for appreciating all the hard work. Okay, next up is our Community Policing Medal. This award is actually a very special award. There's a lot of agencies that can probably have their own definition of what community policing is, but you have to put the community back into the policing part. And I can tell you right now, the community engagement, collaboration, both on and off duty by these folks being nominated, I really can't say enough. I mean, their dedication to their community in this county is just phenomenal. So with that, like Sergeant Cindy Burke step forward. I can tell you, besides just the SROs, she gets involved with and is responsible for our youth camp, our fun days, a lot of other youth-related activities. She's kind of a super mom in the schools. And, yeah.
Sorry, Cindy.
Kristen Hayduk's one of our investigators. Kristen's not with us right now. Sergeant Fritz, if you'd please step forward. Terry Fritz is sergeant with the CPU, which is our community policing unit. I can tell you right now, that man works a lot. Between the sheriff and myself, I really appreciate the work he does, and not only by volume, but in the quality of work he does with our community policing program. Terry's going to be responsible for spearheading of the achievement for our certified crime prevention community, which I'm proud to say has not only been launched, but we've received the thumbs up on 4 out of 19 elements already. So we're well on progress based on Robbie and Terry's hard work. Narlisha Nickens, is Narlisha with us tonight? Okay, Narlisha is one of our communications officers. She's also served us in an administrative role. Sammy Keller, I believe, was not with us. Henry Molina is Deputy Molina with us. Okay, Lieutenant Seal.
We've talked enough about Robbie.
Yeah, we have. I don't want to see any more of these.
Robbie just needs to exercise his needs, that's all. We're just getting him up and down. So we have Omar Fuentes. Axel? Is Axel still with us? Come on up, Axel. Axel Ulibarri. Axel's one of the most enthusiastic deputies I've had experience with the last couple of years. He always comes and asks to do more and talks about all the things he wants to do. Being a field training officer, school resource officer, he's been involved with many aspects, so he's a hardworking guy. I appreciate the work he does. As well as Wiggy, Christopher Wiggington. He must be comfortable back there. Wiggy always looks up like I'm just happy.
You guys always happy.
Can't say enough about Wiggy. One of my favorite people.
Thank you, sir.
Daniel Henry, is Jesse with us tonight? Is Jesse here? Okay. All right, on behalf of Jesse, we'll make sure that award gets to him. Jesse's another one of our school resource officers and just a wonderful human being. He really contributes well to our schools. All right, we're going to move on to the next award, which is our Leadership Medal. Again, this is exemplified by not just performance, but by conduct. Leadership's defined in many ways, but the simplest way is by your actions, not your words. And I can tell you all these honorees are leaders in their own right and certainly deserving of this. So I ask First Sergeant Phillips to step forward. Lieutenant Glavis. Mike out in the hallway.
Congrats, sir.
Sergeant Negron, Aaron, please step up. Ray Jenkins with us tonight? We didn't see Ray earlier. He's not? Okay. Christopher Powell? Right now, Chris is trying to rethink why I sat all the way on the other side of the room.
Or why he came.
And while he's doing that, we asked Lieutenant Jeremiah Lane to step up as well. Haven't got a chance to talk a lot about Jeremiah, but Jeremiah is one of these guys that is just steadily working hard, and he is just a true leader in the way he manages himself and the forts. He's always up to the occasion, quiet and soft-spoken. Sergeant Gregory. While John's walking up, I'll ask James Beatty to join us as well. If you would, please. Sergeant Burke. Can I get Cindy Burke to step up again, please? And last but not least, Deputy Chad Ruckman.
Appreciate it, Sheriff. Appreciate you. Thank you.
While they're receiving their awards, like I said, I could tell you stories about leadership all night long. These are true leaders in our office. And I can tell you, I can only achieve success through these folks. So there's a lot of things that we try to get done through initiatives, going for their hard work. I can tell you right now, we're truly blessed to have them. So I thank you. So we can give a round of applause for the leaders receiving the award. I appreciate everybody's time. We're on track. We had the schedule till 8, and we're going to make it by then. So just let you know, we're not going to go long-winded. We'll get you out of your time. Go home and watch your favorite show. So, life-saving medal. This one is one that you hope you never have to give up, but you're proud to do it. In our office, probably the scariest moments we have are those 911 calls, because it starts with a 911 call. And these are success stories where we've had people that have, in one way or another, been responsible for saving a life. So I'm proud to announce Clark McDaniel's name again. Clark's not with us right now. Jessica Atchison. Lieutenant Steve Collins.
Oh, as I beat the sheriff up.
Deputy Kay Brown. Deputy Tyler Poe.
Thanks, sir. Congrats, buddy.
Sergeant John Gregory.
Finally, someone my height.
I've got them paced. I know how to keep things moving.
I gotta see you again.
Deputy Matthew Griffith.
Sir, thank you.
Investigator Christopher Powell.
You did.
And not present tonight would be Kristen Hayden. So all these individuals have had, at one time or another, taken critical action to save another person's life. So to you, I thank you. I thank you for saving those lives and everything you do. So big round of applause for these lifesavers. And just a footnote on Jessica's award. Jessica got, what was the Stork Award? You got a Stork Award, Stork Pen. That's given to dispatchers that are involved with delivering a child. It's hard enough to do that. I can't imagine what it's like doing it over the phone. So congratulations, Jessica. I know it's a wonderful experience to have some people have done that. Okay, our next series of awardees are Distinguished Service Medals. So I'd ask that Investigator Joel Thompson come up, please. Greg Long.
Congrats. Congrats, sir.
And last and certainly not least is Lieutenant Steve Collins. I'd like to make mention some of these awards, like Distinguished Service and Life Saving, sometimes they serve people that don't want to be served. There's instances they'll respond to persons in crisis due to mental illness or just having a crisis in their life. We've had individuals that have threatened to take their own lives, and I can tell you these deputies have stepped in and saved those persons. A great risk to themselves, I might add. So, thank you very much. Okay, we're getting to the end of the service awards. Distinguished Service Awards, we have another group I'd like to step forward, and that would be Lieutenant Glavis. When I call your names and you come up, please, I would like you to just stand by for a moment, because in conjunction with this, I have another special announcement. It kind of goes along with this. So I'd ask your indulgence and your patience. So with Lieutenant Glavis, I'd ask that Deputy Ben Yost step forward, please. I know that Chris Anderson, we announced his name. I know Chris is not with us, but nonetheless, we'll honor him and recognize him.
I'm a big fella.
Sergeant Mike Robinson. And Deputy Chad Ruckman. After you receive your awards, I've got a little add-on to it. I'll tell you a little story about this. In honoring these gentlemen, they are being distinguished for something that few people experience, none of us want to, but in times of need, they step up and they take care of each other, our office, and our community. In this particular case, Mike, Benny, and Chris, Mike Robinson and Chad, we lost a deputy. Everybody has seen where we had the tragedy where we lost Jesse Dunn. Some of them were present with him out of state in Kansas, a long way off. During that time of crisis, they pulled together as a team, as a family, and they were there for each other, as well as the Dove family, and they got Brother Jesse home. That was a difficult, very difficult task to do. So I would like to thank you, and before we go further, I've got a little add-on to that. Up on the slide above here, you'll notice that there's a special plaque. In this task, when we lost Jesse, when we were able to successfully recover him, we had to get him home. And it was with honors, and it was with the assistance of a lot of agencies and a lot of people. I would dare say probably hundreds of people if we were to go back and count the number of people that were involved with this, just getting him home, not counting the service and honoring Jesse once we got him home. In doing so, in organizing something like that, a ground transport of a fallen deputy military person is an arduous task. It's very tedious. It's very emotional. It's very difficult. So they not only achieved that, they achieved that with honor and distinction that makes us proud. But it didn't go unrecognized. I also have an award. Captain, do you have those envelopes up here? Just the envelopes. They get their envelopes? Okay. Being given to you tonight, besides the Sheriff's Award, besides receiving the previous award you got, there's an envelope. And in the envelope is a personal letter. And there's also a coin. And on the slide here, you can see this plaque, and it replicates the coin that's in there. So on behalf of Russell Hott, the Field Office Director with the Washington Field Office, it's Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the enforcement and removal operations. The quote that I have up here is from a portion of the letter. Jesse's big boss wanted to honor these gentlemen. So there was a personal letter of recognition and thank you. That's in the envelope along with the coin. So on behalf of Field Office Director Hott, it's my pleasure to not only award you with the certificates and the letter and the coin. To quote, you're an asset to law enforcement. Your actions positively represent the Warren County Sheriff's Department. I'd say that your actions went beyond those words. So I thank you. You did it with dignity, and I thank you for everything you did for Jesse and for our community. So. Okay, there's one last piece to this. The plaque that you see here that we proudly display, it was received by myself. This was not produced or shown or shared with anybody till tonight. So it's with my honor, on behalf of Russell Hott, the Field Office Director, I'd like to present Sheriff Mark Butler with this plaque. If you please step forward. Like can tell you a little bit about discussions on this afterwards. I mean, this is it was a very difficult thing to go through, and we're not done yet. I mean, we're still healing from it, but it makes us stronger. Our office is stronger, our family's stronger, our community's stronger. So, like I said, it was a lot of expression of love and gratitude. And I can tell you one thing: crisis leadership. When you have something like this, I'm sure Dr. Daly and our board of supervisors and many other people in this room that have been through this in the military or some other part, and even the families here. I can tell you what, it's a very difficult thing to go through. I've seen it before. I've never seen it done better. So, Sheriff, you did well.
Thank you.
Okay. One last thing. If we could have Chad step forward just briefly, please. Chad Ruckman. On behalf of the Dove family, I would like to present Chad with a plaque. I'll just read this to you because this is a deeply personal family matter, but I'm going to read the plaque to you. In recognition of your exceptional service and significant contributions to the success of the Warren County Sheriff's Office in the County of Warren, Virginia, therefore we honor you with this Achievement Award for your selfless giving, compassion, and commitment to the law enforcement profession. This is a Special Achievement Award to Jesse Dove.
Thank you.
Okay, we're down to our last couple of awards. I'd like to acknowledge Lieutenant Stephen Collins, Kristen Hyduk, who's not with us, he's out training, Investigator Chris Powell, Deputy Cade Brown, and Deputy Tyler Pope. If you please step forward. These employees are receiving acknowledgement for Medal of Bravery. What they've done is they've committed a selfless act that was above and beyond the call of duty, that went beyond the expectations of us. And I can tell you, I would say it's exceptional, but having known these gentlemen and the people that are receiving this award, it's not exceptional. This is in their character. I congratulate each and every one of you.
Done with us or not? I was daydreaming.
This is an award that's not given out very often. As a matter of fact, it's the first time in Sheriff Butler's tenure, I believe, that we've actually presented somebody with a Medal of Valor. Medal of Valor is when somebody did a selfless act that put themselves in peril, most time, I think in this particular case, without any thought for their own safety, but with careful training and how they applied their professionalism in responding to this crisis, kept themselves safe, calm. Matter of fact, when I watched this video, if I were to say the epitome of calm was the recipient to this award. I haven't watched this. We have the video, I'm going to play an excerpt, but I do have the audio turned off out of respect for the folks here, because sometimes there are things that are said in real life that I don't want to offend anybody about. But I can tell you, if you could hear this recipient's voice, it is the epitome of professionalism. Calm, decisive, action-oriented, and there were 2 lives saved in this incident. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the backstory. So if you just bear with me for a moment. So valor is when we have just ordinary people. And to be honest with you, a lot of people look at our deputies and communications officers, law enforcement across the country, even our military, as supermen and superwomen. They're just men and women that go to work. Most often they leave their families and their friends at home and they sacrifice things to come to their job. But to them, it's more than a job. So this is an exceptional effort. So when you see these extraordinary actions, they are truly extraordinary. They really are. That's why we're very proud to share the story a little bit with you. So on February 23rd of this year, a little bit after 4 o'clock in the morning, just before 5 o'clock in the morning, we had an incident on Loop Road where the residents were awakened to find that one of their neighbors' houses was engulfed in flames. The front of the house, can you imagine? They woke up in the middle of the night, half asleep, and your neighbor's house is burning. And that house that you know to be your neighbor's is a family with children. So that's how our story begins. But before the flames could consume the home, those neighbors, one of them quickly acted and called 911. They mobilized, went outside. One of the neighbors, the husband, sprang into action and actually approached the house. During the time frame, and it was a very short time frame between calling 911 and our deputies, first arriving deputies getting on scene, the neighbor had forced entry into one of the doors. The front part of the building, of course, is completely engulfed in flames. You'll see a picture of it here in a moment. So just put yourself in that moment, seeing that picture, and imagining what that was like for the neighbor that took a selfless act and went in and tried to save his neighbor's self. So at that point, he goes in and saves an infant. Now, I don't share names with you because it's still an investigation, so the fire service has that piece, but I'm very proud to share this story with you. So here's the video. If we can get it to play, I'll try to advance forward. It's kind of lengthy, so I'm going to kind of jump ahead. There we go. Thank you. Ask for your patience. We're trying to get the video played. It's a long video, so it's basically about the first minute and a half, but I'll just kind of give you the backdrop of this because the audio has been cut off. On this particular night, our deputies responded to this 911 call. So they're going to what they believe is a fire. We know what we're told on 911. It starts with that 911 call. That's why I said our dispatchers, I applaud them for putting this in motion and being calm. But as the deputy arrives, this is the first thing they see. So here's your first images. This is what you see. You're in the shoes of our deputies. They arrive. You've got the neighbor yelling. You've got people in crisis. You've got a house on fire. One of the occupants, a small child's already been extricated and moved to safety. Residents overcome by smoke. You'll notice as you see here, I'm going to stop the video when it gets to a certain point. There's nothing on here that's going to be offensive. I'll just explain. We have an adult female that's unconscious due to the smoke. The deputy mobilizes, and with the aid of the resident next door, so we have a civilian and one of our deputies, they remove this woman from harm's way during this active fire. So you'll see them. The deputy is talking to the neighbor. He enlists the aid of the gentleman. He tells them, very calm. I wish I could play some of this and let you listen to it. And he is calm as I am right now. Calmly tells the neighbor, assist me, shine some light over here. Help me. Grab your feet, and they're moving this person out in the darkness to get them to safety. They'll remove the occupants from the house to a safe area. The female was unconscious for a short period of time, transported. Happy to say that the life-saving efforts taken by not only our deputy, but by the civilians, this process that was put in motion, saved lives. Nobody was lost in this fire. It was just property damage. Like I said, it's still under investigation. So I'm going to go ahead and stop it right here. What you'll see is they'll continue on with the search of the house. Okay, with the brief introduction, some of you know who it is, but with selfless disregard for his own safety, the one citizen entered the house. saved a life, assisted saving a second life by going into that house again while it was burning, smoke inhalation, being treated. Sergeant John Gregory took the time. That's the person you see putting the gloves on. That's the body cam video. That's one of the benefits of the video. You get to see the story. And I can tell you right now, just his composure was impressive. I can tell you, having worked with John, his composure under fire, under stress, and in a crisis, this is something we play in the police academy. This is what I want young deputies to see, even young firemen. By the way, if I'm not mistaken, I believe John is also, or has been involved in the fire service as well. By the way, being overcome by smoke himself and coughing and fighting through this, he went back to the house. When the fire services arrived, he's still controlling the scene, getting people out of the yard, and he's pulling hose. He helped set up the fire service by actually pulling hose during this event. He never stopped working. So with that, I would like John to step forward, please. So tonight we recognize you, John.
I'm going to say something real quick. When 3.5 years ago we started this awards program, these individuals that received awards tonight, it's a very difficult task to go through. It doesn't reach my desk until I'm signing them. Captain Mumal and I sat down and set up this awards program, and it's very strenuous. To get this award, it has to, not one person giving this award, it's a concise where everybody's voting and agreeing on it. But to get the Medal of Valor, our deputies put their life on the line every single day. And to work with individuals like John Gregory, I wish everybody would stand up and let's give them all a hand up.
John, thank you. John, I'm glad you brought your family with you. This is one of those things that we encourage everybody to bring their family and their children, because like I said, this is truly a family event. So it makes me very proud as a father to watch John chase his daughter around, because I know she's proud of her daddy. That's a beautiful moment. So again, thank you, John. I know earlier I asked to see if Jane was with us, Jane Meadows, because we'd afforded time. Sometimes the county has longevity awards and other awards. I don't believe we have those tonight, do we? Okay, all right. So this will conclude our presentation. Got a few closing comments. So before we close out, I'd like to go ahead and turn it over to Sheriff Butler.
Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight. Every single day, it doesn't matter what challenge you have. It doesn't matter what the call is. Our deputies go out and give 100%, and I have never been a part of a more professional, more outstanding agency than the one we have right now. One of the things you will hear in the next coming months is not me saying it, but the state saying it. We were audited by DCJS for accreditation. We received some of the highest marks probably ever received for accreditation. That's not my work alone, that's our work. That's what we do every day. That's why we wear the badge, and that's why we took this job. So I really want to thank each and every one of you and the families that support our deputies. Could not be done without you. In our county, everyone in this county should be proud and thank you for the service that you do. Thank you very much. Y'all have a blessed evening.
Okay, this will bring us to a conclusion of our program. If everybody would just stand by for just a second, please. I would like to invite those that have won awards or have their family, if you'd like to, stay behind. Our photographer Dwayne can take some pictures of you. But also, too, in concluding this, I would like to thank the Royal Examiner. I'd like to thank Dr. Daly and the Board of Supervisors. I'd like to thank all of our guests. In closing, I know Roger Boris could be with us, but I'd like to indulge me, please. I'd like to go ahead and say a closing prayer to get us on our way. If you would, please.
Thank you.
There you go. That closing prayer, just 1 second. Thanks for your indulgence. So I'd ask that the Lord bless our deputies and all law enforcement. Give them wisdom and peace as they go about their business and patrol each and every day. Lord, protect them from any harm or danger that would come their way. And in the mighty name of Jesus, amen. God bless you all.